Welcome to our podcast. You're listening to Don't Worry by Ikeson at www.ikesonmusic.com. Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine, making sense of the senseless. Three professional women attempting to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine. I am Dr. Jody Larman. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California. Therefore, I have to say that everything that we discuss in this podcast is purely for educational and psychoeducation, entertainment and psychoeducational purposes only. There is no therapy or therapeutic relationship given or implied. Tonight, I am drinking, I have a little taster. So I get to drink like the whole bottle of Coppola. And it's a friend gave it to me. I'm so excited because I have not tried it yet. And my glass says, "Hello, pumpkin."
Oh, love it. I'm Heather. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Denver, Colorado, and I'm a domestic violence survivor. And today I am re-drinking. I'm finishing my sister snake that I had started, I think, an episode or two ago. There it is. And my glass is this like funky little alien looking thing with a tail.
Love. Almost ordered that from Amazon.
I like the straw part.
So cute. My name is Ashley. I am a single mom, domestic violence and SA survivor, founder of Loving Single. And tonight I am trying something new, tropical strawberry Moscato. Because you know I love my sweet wines. And this glass I just feel is always appropriate for Why Complain When You Can Wine night.
I love that.
And it keeps it cold. So
Nice.
Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Well, I'm sorry, Ashley, I didn't.
I'm gonna pour a big glass in my toxic cup. Cheers. Ooh, yes.
Good. I'm gonna enjoy this.
Still good.
That is delicious. So wow.
On the topic of wine, ladies, have you tried this app? It's called Vivino. It's Vivino, and what you do, I love this. I use this all the time. What you do is you take a picture of the label of your wine. So you take a picture, and then what you do is it'll come up and it'll tell you everything about the wine. It'll tell you how many out of 4, it'll tell you what the rating is and how many people, it'll tell you about how much it is. And then it'll tell you like the tones and the bitterness and the acidity, the taste characteristics. And like, it'll say that like there's oak, vanilla, chocolate, stuff like that. It's more bold. It's in the middle between smooth and tannic. It's more on the dry side.
Are you saying it's like wine for dummies?
Yes.
Wine buying for dummies.
And this is not a sponsored, if they want to sponsor us, we are right here. I use this all the time because it not only does it take the picture and tell you all the information, but it'll save what you put in there. And I know I will drink a bottle of wine and then I totally forget what it was when I want to buy it again. So you can go back and see all the pictures and what you liked and didn't like. And
Cool.
I've been to Trader Joe's where people are buying wine and I'll say, "Oh, here, you want to know about this wine?" And they start using it too, because I'll show them how to use it and we'll take a picture and look at all the things in the wine. And I like to know, because I don't necessarily know, do I like bold or do I like light? But then I notice that all of these wines that I am liking are on the bold side and they're on the acidic side. So it also tells me so that when I go like out somewhere, I know more of what to buy. I love it. It's Vivino. And again, not sponsored, but we're open.
Yeah, the first shout out is free.
The first shout out's free.
Thank you. Exactly, Ashley. Take it away.
Tonight's topic is, drum roll please, Jody.
I am extremely passionate about this. Self-aware narcissists. And I'm going to tell you
Dun,
right
dun,
now,
dun.
we are not going to promote any person. We are not going to say any names. We are not going to specifically talk about any person because I do not want to give them any more supply than they are already getting. That being said, self-aware, the term self-aware, I want to start this out by saying the term self-awareness means conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires.
Huh.
Therefore, a self-aware narcissist is a motherfucking narcissist who knows exactly what the fuck they are doing, and they're letting you know this. They have not stopped it. They have no intentions of stopping it. They are not recovered. They are not narcissists. They are just aware of their own fucking toxicity.
I think the extent of their awareness stops once they get the diagnosis. It's like you have NPD and they're like, I'm aware that I have this diagnosis. And then any like introspection into the motivations, the feelings and things like that, they're not capable of, by definition, they're not capable of that. So I know that it's a trending thing right now to have people on social media put themselves out there as having this diagnosis and are somehow educating people, and that's their way of giving back for all of the abuse they've caused, I guess. But to be self-aware, it has to, for me, and I think for most people, has to go beyond, I just know the name of the diagnosis I've been given. It has to go, you have to have more internal awareness. And narcissists don't have that ability because their sense of self is already so fractured. To have self-awareness, you'd probably have to have some sense of self to begin with. So
You said the big word, introspection.
yeah.
They are capable of that. So they are very much fucking aware of what the fuck they're doing. And yes, there's going to be a lot of cussing tonight, trigger warning perhaps, but I cannot stand that this is the new trend going around about
Give a trigger warning for cussing.
Trigger warning, I'm mad today. Bitches.
in case you didn't already know it, I fucking cuss.
It wasn't a profanity warning. It wasn't an explicit content warning. It was a fucking trigger warning.
People like, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, you do not get triggered by cussing. But
Oh my God.
just in case you do. And if you do, then this is probably not going to be the podcast to listen to, because I cannot be, I'm sorry. I have gotten a lot of shit on social media for not liking narcissists and NPD. However, and I've been told that I should not be practicing, that I am a horrible clinician, and oh my God, how can you even, say anything like that? And here's the thing, this is the one wonderful thing about being a psychologist. I don't have to see NPD. I don't have to treat an NPD. And ethically, because I know I fucking can't treat NPD and won't, I get to not. I get to refer them out. I get to be picky that way. So I am not a bad clinician, because all psychologists, little hint, all mental health professionals don't love all the disorders. Don't embrace all the disorders. There are people who will never ever treat paraphilia. I don't want to. And there are people that absolutely love and make their practice out of treating borderlines. That is their right, their prerogative. So we get to do that. So I'm not a bad clinician for saying, I don't fucking care for NPD.
No, that actually makes you a really good clinician. Like, you've got to be aware of your own triggers, your biases, your stuff. If you're not self-aware yourself as a clinician, you are doing a disservice to your client. It's the same thing as being too scared to diagnose them with the personality disorder you don't like. If you are working with a personality disorder that you don't like, and it is not, you're not gonna lead to any healing or change for them if you can't stand them. If there's no redeeming qualities that you can grasp onto to work with, you're not gonna be able to work with them, and you're gonna have to refer them out, because there might be some. I work with sex offenders, and I've been working with sex offenders my whole career. So I work in community mental health as well. So when I get criminal justice involved clients that are sex offenders, they usually end up on my caseload because other clinicians acknowledge that they cannot work with people that have abused people sexually. And there are people with borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder that I get on my caseload sometimes, that I end up referring to one of my clinicians that work really, really well with those things. And then I get people with ASPD because I work really, really well with them and with the paraphilia. You just have to be aware of what your strengths and weaknesses are as a clinician. It does not make you a bad clinician to acknowledge that, nope, I can't work with that. So anyway, just had to back up my friend over here because she gets whipped on social media sometimes for no damn reason.
I get the flying one.
It's because you say things that are real and controversial. We have a generation that's somewhat sensitive. I'm gonna get yelled at for this, but we do have a sensitive generation of people out there.
Somewhat, no. They're hyper. Listen. Come after
She don't
me.
give a fuck. She's gonna tell you.
Y'all, they're hypersensitive, where they're looking for reasons to be offended. They are looking for areas where they can find controversy. Do you remember a few years ago, maybe over a decade ago, when that woman went to McDonald's and got burned by the cup of coffee that said hot on it, and she sued because it was.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's what people are looking for. I am looking for a way for you to offend me so that I can attack you, because I have all of this internalized rage and unaddressed trauma that I need to release it out onto someone. That's what I see happening to you on social media, Dr. Jody.
And I don't want to discredit the fact that this generation is also experiencing a whole lot of fucking things I'm glad I didn't have to go through coming up in the world. So I mean, shit's fucking hard, but man, y'all pick on some dumb shit sometimes. It's okay.
I'm gonna get shit for this, but I think Gen Z does some amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. But when it comes to mental health,
I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah.
Because, and I know we're talking about self-aware narcissists, and I will get to this point, but I get 18, 19, 20-year-olds in my comments on the regular with any video I say about narcissistic personality disorder, claiming to be NPD. Here's the thing. I'm not saying they're not, because I have not diagnosed them. I don't know them. But a couple of things. Personality disorders are not diagnosed, except for ASPD starts before the age of 15. But NPD, not until you're 18. And even when you're 18, your brains are still in the process of developing to who you're going to be. So if you find out that you're NPD at age of 18, go to fucking therapy, and maybe there is hope for you. But there's all these 18, 19, 20-year-olds claiming that they have HPD, BPD, NPD, and ASPD, the whole cluster F. And I have to wonder, because I have so many people that tell me that they can't get into therapy. And I read over and over about the mental health crisis, and people cannot get therapy appointments. Yet all of these 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, God bless them if they have apparently been to therapy and been diagnosed.
Unlikely.
So
unlikely.
But if they have, that is amazing. Where are they going? Because I have a whole shit ton of people that want to know, because they can't get appointments.
Right.
Well, if they're actually going to therapy, that is fantastic. But I have to wonder what clinician or what psychiatrist is diagnosing ASPD, NPD, HPD, BPD, bipolar, and ASD all in the same person.
And they say too that they like, I get tested for it all the time, or I get screened for it every year. And I'm like, what? Because I'm going to tell you, like in the last decade, like convincing clinicians to diagnose any cluster Bs is already really difficult because of the stigma that has come with those disorders. So and that has not changed in the last 10 years much. I still think that clinicians, at least therapists, master's level clinicians that are coming out of school, have a real hard time with diagnosing, and they have an even harder time with giving a diagnosis that's that significant without a lot of data backing it up, and a lot of just comfort in sharing a cluster B diagnosis with a cluster B person. So that takes a lot, and it's just clinicians are not just out here just like doling out personality disorders to people with one screening or one intake appointment. And it takes a lot of assessment and collateral documentation to really know if someone has a personality disorder. I take 6 months to a year before I feel confident that, yep, that's what it is. Like, that's all, yep, checked all the boxes. I've got 5 out of 9 now, like I give it some time before I can really back that up. And even then I've got to reassess every 6 months to make sure I'm right. So for people to just be coming out of the woodwork with cluster B diagnoses all over social media, it's because it's a trendy thing to do. And it's sort of, I get wanting to destigmatize mental health disorders. I love that. I love breaking stigmas. I don't appreciate glamorizing things that are very serious, that impact people's lives in all areas of functioning, to the extent that they cannot have relationships, hold down jobs, fucking, like get along in the world and have things that people without these disorders have the luxury to have. So it's almost insulting to me that people want to self-diagnose or claim diagnoses that they don't have, and then say, look at me on social media, I have 10 of these diagnoses, when they're actually, that they're quite serious and quite rare considering how many people claim to have them. So that's my 2 cents on it. 5 cents, I don't know, 10 cents.
And to test every year, personality disorders, again, going back to these self-aware narcissists, personality disorders don't go away. It is your personality. Yes, with borderline personality disorder, you can go to DBT, CBT, maybe HCT, whatever, and lifelong workbooks, working the program, almost like an AA kind of thing. You have to work the program forever. And most don't do that. Kudos to those who do. But I have people telling me narcissism, they recover. And specifically self-aware narcissists, which there are several on TikTok. And the reason I really am passionate about this is because if you've ever truly been with a narcissist, you know it is fucking nightmare. I have people coming in, flying monkeys and self-aware narcissist supporters that say there's no such thing as narcissistic abuse. Yeah, absolutely is. There absolutely is. Narcissistic abuse messes with your amygdala, which is our memories. It messes with the hippocampus, which is our memories, the amygdala, which is the fight or flight, and our prefrontal cortex, which is our emotional regulation. It seriously fucks you up. All toxicity is bad. Toxic is toxic. But narcissistic abuse, because of the way they gaslight and manipulate and mind fuck, it makes you question your sanity entirely. And so you have these self-aware narcissists who are explaining to people what gaslighting is as they're gaslighting. Like, holy fuck, they're gaslighting you, explaining the gaslighting, because they're basically saying, see, this is what it is, but I've been in therapy for 5 or 6 years, so I'm just showing you what it is, giving
Yeah.
you to the impression. Now, they may not have outright said, I am healthy, I am recovered, but they lead you through their word salad and mind fucking to believe that they have recovered, that they are in remission, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Or that they give a fuck about you. These people don't give a fuck about you. And they'll be like, yeah, we don't give a fuck about you. And you're like, I'm going to listen to everything they tell me. I'm like, why? Why don't you find someone that cares about you? Haven't you already been through enough abuse? Haven't you already been through enough people exploiting you? Don't you want to get support and help from somebody who actually does give a fuck about you, and not someone who's just getting supply off of you and really could care less about whether you heal or not? Because there are some, at least one that I've heard on TikTok, that does claim that they're recovering or that they have healed. And, I mean, if that's the case, then I highly doubt NPD was the accurate diagnosis, or they're just lying. But NPD doesn't magically change, not with a couple years of therapy, not with 5 years of therapy. It usually takes people with cluster B personality disorders about 10 years before they realize that they're in therapy for something. Like, these are people that if they're going to engage in therapy, which is NPD is not, like, if they end up there, and they do in my world, because I work in criminal justice, so they get court mandated to see me, they don't make any fucking progress on the NPD. I might get them to, engage in different behaviors, not, abusing alcohol or drugs, or, not hurting people in X, Y, and Z way, but I'm not going to be able to build like empathy out of nothing. You just don't do that. You can teach the concept of empathy, but you can't build that inside a person that by definition just doesn't fucking have it. So
narcissists go to therapy to prove that they are not the problem. Narcissists go to therapy to prove that it's everybody else. And when I hear of a self-aware narcissist who's been in therapy for 6 years, you are either fucking totally manipulating your clinician, if you still have the same one,
or they're robbing your ass.
Thank you. I was just going to say, your clinician is either really bad, or your clinician is just like, I'm getting paid, man.
I'll just take your money then.
I'm getting paid. Because after 6 years of fucking therapy.
And no progress. Why are we in there? Like, medically, like, insurance companies aren't going to accept clinicians billing for things that aren't medically necessary. You really have to justify that you're making some fucking progress in therapy. I actually had to terminate a client today with NPD because he was doing those things and gaslighting me and all of the things that they do, and refusing to acknowledge that there was anything about them that needed to change. This was for the last year. And so, I mean, I give it a good go before I'm like, you got to go. But 6 years, 6 years, at that point, it's like, we know we're not making progress, right? Like, I can't bill insurance. Like, I guess a private clinician can just keep taking your money, but I would never be able to bill an insurance company for that.
But I think, like, let's think for like a narcissist for a second. They're not doing this shit to get better. They're not doing this shit in order to do anything, except they're doing it for the same reasons they do everything, to make themselves look better. Yeah. Because it's only and always about how they are perceived. It's only ever about image. It's only ever about perception. Why does a self-aware narcissist,
I hate that word,
go and educate people about narcissism? Because it makes them look good. It makes them look like they're helpful, like they care, like they're giving back, like it's their way of resolving within themselves all of the damage they've caused, not because they're doing it for themselves, not because they're trying to create retribution or like, make it right. It's all for the sake of making them look good. That's the only
Yep.
reason. Yeah, I've been in therapy 6 years. I go to therapy. I have a therapist. Oh,
That's so
you're
good. You're
such a
working on
charming
yourself.
narcissist. You're such a charming, good-hearted narcissist.
And the danger with that is that there are survivors of these abusive people that believe that, fuck, if I just got him to go to therapy,
That's
then
the
this
danger.
could work. Then this would stop.
Yeah.
Then it could get better. And that's the dangerous part, because they really look up to this person, these people, because they've gained so much popularity, and they say a lot of, great things, and they're educating on a lot of concepts, but they're not internalizing any of that to make any of those changes to themselves, but they're making people believe that they are without saying it. They'll make videos or whatever and content that says, no, I haven't fucking changed, just to make sure they don't fucking get too much backlash for what they're doing. But people aren't believing that. People are seeing someone that appears to care about their well-being and want to help them get out of this abusive relationship, but they're also seeing someone who says that they're this sick, and if my partner's this sick and they go to therapy, maybe they can do something good for the world instead of being in a piece of shit all the time. And that's not a safe exit plan, and it's not a safe belief system to have. You really have to understand that these people are not going to change, and accept that in order to leave.
And the ones that are married. And so then that is also a false sense of, well, if he's married or she's married, they have a spouse. And if that spouse can deal with it, and they'll even put their spouse on display on social media to say, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we do. But what you don't see is just like any other narcissistic relationship. You don't see what went on before they went on the camera, and you don't see probably, I'm almost willing to place a bet. I'm not a gambling person, but afterwards there's going to be you didn't look at the camera long enough. You didn't say this correctly. You made me look bad. You need to video it again. You need to do that. There's probably a lot of devaluing and a lot of that going on that we're only seeing this video. And I've had people, because they will ask, why are you so mad? Because if you've ever been in a narcissistic relationship, you know the fucking hell that it is. And this person, or people who have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and that's only on TikTok, and then they're doing articles, or they have YouTube or whatever, so there's another however many followers, they will say indirectly that they're not healed or this is what they do, but it's also done with a wink wink nudge nudge kind of a thing. Like, I'm going to throw this out there, but you're not really hearing it. I'm just saying it, but let's cloud it into everything else so that people don't really hear it. And I've had people say to me, no, they helped me so much. And it's like, helped you what? Are you still in your relationship? Yes, but now I recognize. That's great.
Now you're pacifying the abuse,
Now you're
because
at the same level awareness that the narcissist is.
Yeah. You're pacifying the abuse and you're enabling it because someone who is diagnosed NPD has let you know that there's a false sense of hope. Isn't that the fucking abuse anyways?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they do? And listen, I think that to an extent, now I'm going to play devil's advocate because this is what we do. To an extent, we have our own personal responsibility to say, well, this is coming from a narcissist. And like, if we know anything about narcissists, then we know that they're only doing this for themselves. And to a degree, I can see, from the perspective of a narcissist, they're like, well, I told him, I'm telling him I don't care. I'm legit making a video saying we don't care about you. I'm legit saying I don't love you. I'm legit saying I don't love my kids. I'm just telling you how I am.
I'm gonna stop you right for this second. I'm saying I'm self-aware, which means I fucking know everything I'm fucking doing. That
Yes.
title alone says everything that you just said, Ashley. So
Yes.
come on, I had to say that.
Yeah, I mean, but so that's why I'm saying to a degree, we have to hold ourselves personally responsible for the information that we're taking in. But it's also very misleading for people who are extremely vulnerable and they're desperate
Yeah,
to
that's
make
the
their
worst part. Is
relationship
this?
work.
Yeah, that's the worst part to me. That's the scariest part, is that this isn't just another, like, some sort of other mental health destigmatization movement, and this isn't just another survivor movement. These are real, like, really traumatized, vulnerable people that are seeking out help. This is a population of individuals that I believe have the ability to see through bullshit. I really do, but they're not always in a place where they can do that right now. And so for people with NPD or claiming to have NPD hijack the survivor movement and use it for their own supply, and it breaks my heart for people. And I know, like, many of them will stand up and say, actually, but it does help me. This information did help me. It was actually, when I first got on TikTok, the first information that I stumbled across was the self-aware narcissist. And I started questioning this person. And of course, I never got a response when they found out who I was, a therapist. And I was like fascinated by it though. And I think anybody would be like, holy shit, like, here's this person who says they have this thing and he's describing behaviors that my partner has done to me. And I think it perpetuates the cognitive dissonance, right? Like, that it's like, there's a good person in the narcissist. And that is not healing. That's not moving through. That's the same cognitive dissonance you've experienced.
Was on.
Had
a little technical malfunction.
Technical difficulties, but it's the same abuse that you've experienced. It's the same cognitive dissonance you've experienced with your abuser. It's the same thing that you're getting from the self-aware narcissist on social media. Is a dual-sided belief that this person can be both good and evil at the same time. And you just have to know that they're not all good at all.
And if you ever legitimately ever dealt with a narcissist, true NPD diagnosable, whether they've been diagnosed or not, let's say that they meet all the criteria, they could be diagnosed, because it's hard to diagnose and they don't go to therapy. But we can look and see and observe and check the check boxes and say, yeah, that's NPD. But if you've ever been in a narcissistic relationship, like Heather, you and I just had an encounter with a self-aware narcissist who, because they did not like the video that I did about self-aware narcissists, they didn't like it. My video said, look, just, viewer beware, follower beware. Self-aware narcissists only mean that they know what the fuck they're doing. So if you want to follow them, but know that they know exactly what they're doing. They're doing it for supply, and they know. It's like saying, I'm going to fucking abuse you now. And everybody's saying, oh, okay.
Well, as long as you do it nicely.
Yeah, you just told me, so that's cool. So
as long as you and I both know you're abusing me, as long as you abuse me gently, I feel like that's what it is. You can abuse me as long as you abuse me gently.
And recognize it and admit that you know that you're abusing me. This self-aware narcissist didn't like my video, so what they did was come on and make a comment attempting to smear me. And then Heather came on and they said, oh, you too, and attempted to smear her.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was so what a narcissist would do. I was like, you just proved our point.
And when we gave them the evidence against their little smear campaign, you know what? They did exactly what a narcissist does when presented with evidence. I'm going to scoot back now. Bye-bye. I would never existed, and I'm going to move on over here. Because they can't handle being called out.
And then deleted all of his comments because God forbid anyone saw that he did that to people. That is who he is.
Because when we put the evidence, I said, dude, if you're interested in the truth, which I highly doubt you are because truth isn't exciting, go right here. Yeah, they went bye-bye. Because now you can't continue to smear when everybody that comes on after this is going to go there and see that you're wrong. So they will twist and manipulate and word salad the shit out of everybody and everything, unless you're a medical professional that calls them out. They don't like that. I have not, to my knowledge, been blocked, but they will.
We have by the other one. There was several weeks ago, someone who was claiming to be a self-aware narcissist blocked both of us in the same comment thread. We were just asking like a legitimate question. We're not being judgmental. We're not like attacking. We're just like, I don't understand what you're saying.
I remember the question. The question was this self-aware narcissist put up a video saying, this research study says 50% of all narcissists
can change.
And I said, source, please, because I'd really love to look up that article. And they said, it's just an abstract, not a full article. And I'm like, oh, you obviously don't know research then.
Right.
I'd still like to know the article so I can read it. Bam, we were blocked. Yes, Heather.
Well, then I said, I'm sure there's plenty of, what did I say? There were plenty of limitations to the study, or, he would just block me too. I was like,
blocked immediately. Because if on something like, this is also on something like social media, if you are recovered, if you are so fucking self-aware, then when someone comes to you saying, prove it, you can't.
No.
You can prove it.
They're
Instead, you do what a motherfucking narcissist does, and you attempt to smear. And if you can't smear, you fucking block and pretend it doesn't exist. Like
Jody was hyped up for this one today, y'all. Just know she was hyped up before.
But that's like the thing though, is because here's the thing is like when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's not ever about proof. It's never about factual evidence. It's never about what really happened. Because I think a lot of people forget, let me remind you, the narcissist only sees one singular perspective, their own. So it doesn't matter. Your proof is null and void. Your proof is irrelevant. Like your screenshots, your recordings, your documentation does not count to them.
That never happened. That wasn't me.
No, it doesn't matter if you have a psychologist, if you have a therapist. Well, if you have a psychologist or a therapist, they're fucking stupid. They're quacks. Like they don't know what they're talking about. Where did they go to school? Like, what matters is what the narcissist saw, what the narcissist perceived. And the simple fact is that whether you have proof or not, you're fucking wrong.
Yep. Well, because they live in their own reality. Reality is not matter to them because they have these delusions of grandeur, right? Like they live in this delusion that's not based in reality at all. And so any reality that you present to them, no, that's not it.
They love to change the narrative. That is their big thing, is I'm going to change the narrative. That song by Shaggy wasn't me, but she caught me on the camera. Wasn't me. But she caught me on the counter. Wasn't me. Deny until pretty soon, I hate to say it, pretty soon you're like going, what the fuck?
Yeah. You question your own fucking reality. Yay, gaslighting.
Okay, sure. And then they fucking delete the video, so it's like, now you have no proof. And legitimately, if they cannot counter or smear or gaslight, then they just block you on social media and continue to do their thing. And
not on us though, motherfuckers. We screenshot everything before you think you can delete it. We record everything before you think you can bury that shit. We have all of what we needed. So Good luck.
And again, they don't realize that they have a fatal flaw. If
They're
you lie
impulsive.
long enough, you're gonna get twisted up. You're gonna get caught up where you cannot fix it. And being a narcissist, again, it's supply, 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 supply. So when that starts to dry up, and then they start to react because, oh my God, they're losing their supply and that is their life's blood. And so on TikTok, supply is views and viewers. And viewers follow, sorry, when I say viewers, I meant followers. Followers, 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 followers. The more followers, the better. Whatever I have to say and do to get followers is what I'm going to do. And the ones I think they're not necessarily claiming to be self-aware. However, the ones that will, for lack of a better description, bash self-aware narcissists, and yet they're NPD as well. Like, why are you bashing them? Because at least they're saying, I know I'm screwing you over and mind fucking you, and you're claiming to be super innocent and still mind fucking, which is worse. So I guess
it's worse.
You know,
I will say this right now, my personal opinion. I have so much respect for people who own their shit.
Yeah.
I
Facts.
do. Like, listen, if you show up and you're like, I'm diagnosed NPD, I'm going to tell you exactly how I think. I'll answer your questions. I'm here because, honestly, because you know, narcissists love attention. It's all about us. We are the belle of the ball, the star of the show, the life of the party. And I'm just going to tell you how I think. I have a lot of fucking respect for that. Like, I do. I want to pull my fucking hair out and also want to throat punch metaphorically. Let's just
oh no,
clear that
also
up.
literally, I would love to throw a punch if I could.
The narcissist who shows up as the fucking victim and says, I am the victim of narcissistic abuse, and literally takes everything they've done to people in their lives and pretends like it's been done to them in order to gain trust, and also to utilize that trust in order to exploit victims and build their own pool of supply in order to continue and further abusing. I have no fucking respect for that. And to be honest with you, yeah,
I would rather associate with the self-aware narcissist
fuck yeah,
than anybody
yeah, all
who
day,
fucking does that shit.
all day
That
long.
is a fantastic point, Ashley. You are absolutely right. If people didn't just adore self-aware narcissists, I wouldn't be as fucking irritated by them. But when you make the point of the wolf in sheep's clothing, the narcissist in victim's clothing,
Hell no.
that is
That
like,
shit is
yes,
evil.
I'm going to say this. When you are a narcissist and you prey on victims by claiming to be a victim, that is like a pedophile opening up a preschool.
Literally.
And that is real narcissistic personality disorder. Like, that is what they do. The self-aware thing that bothers me the most is I question whether or not that's really what they have. Like, either they were misdiagnosed or they just have enough narcissistic traits that they're able to still like fucking do what they do. If they have NPD, like, it just, like I said, I don't know if I said this on here, if I was talking about it earlier when we were on the phone, but like, there's like a feeling that you get when you're around someone with a cluster B personality disorder. There's hairs on the back of your neck that stand up. There's like a gut feeling of ick or that happens. There's like this relational thing is weird. It's off. The energy's wrong. And you kind of notice it, or the energy's like way, way up. Like, there's something that shifts in your soul when you're around someone with a personality disorder. So these self-aware narcissists, some of them on TikTok, I'm like, I don't get that vibe from you. Like, I hear where you're saying all these educational things and you're claiming that you have this disorder, but I actually really, as you share a little bit of your life with the world, don't feel this relational disconnect, this inhumanity that some people with no empathy, all people with no empathy have, where you feel like that's a fucking predator in your soul. And people can sense that because it's part of our evolutionary makeup. We are able to sense a predator and we can feel it. And I don't feel that. And I can feel it in fucking videos too. It's not because it's a video that I'm looking at. It's because there's an aspect of a person that changes you molecularly into being like, I got to get the fuck away. And I don't get that vibe from these quote unquote self-aware. So I'm almost like, you're just narcissistic enough to claim it and then
I don't know. I
don't know.
Here's where I will slightly disagree with you, only because we are in an age where the times are changing. And like even social media has changed everything. The way we run business has changed everything. In my opinion, those who have been diagnosed with NPD and they go out and create platforms on it, they're fucking brilliant. And I'm not idolizing them and I'm not glorifying them. I am saying that if you want to talk about a smart abuser, it is someone that comes out and says, I'm an abuser and I'm going to make you feel safe with my abuse because I've acknowledged it. And therefore, I'm actually going to be able to garner more attention and gain a bigger supply, because if I come out and face the one thing that I've always been afraid of my whole life, which is shame, then by proxy, I will actually get more of what I want, which is attention, because everyone else is hiding from it. So what would happen if I came out and actually said, I have NPD? Ask me all your questions. I'll tell you. It's actually very, very malicious and very evil. It's very fucked. Like, let's talk about a grandiose narcissist.
But it's genius.
It's genius.
You have 8 billion people almost in this world. And how many people on social media? You've got fucking endless supply.
Seriously. And everyone wants to ask you questions. Everyone wants to understand. Please help me understand. And it's the smartest thing to do. In my opinion, if I was a narcissist, I would totally do that, because you get everything you want. You don't have to hide anymore. I can say, this is what I do. This is how I am. I can.
But can they keep it up though? Like, that's my thing. Like, sure, it's like a really genius idea for a while, but can they keep it up? Can they keep it up, like, and go on TV and go on interviews and like, can they?
But why not?
Because what they'd have to keep up. Like, I actually get to be a fucker in the public eye. I get to be a total fucker.
Mask. I don't have to wear a mask ever. I have almost 8 billion people in this world. Now, how many billions are on, for example, TikTok is the largest platform, if I'm not mistaken, and then add YouTube and add Instagram and Facebook and whatever else. And I have billions of supply where I don't have to fucking hide who I am. I get to wear it loud and proud.
It's very, actually, it's a perverted, it's like, I might get hate for this. It's a perverted way for you to step into your authenticity.
Yes.
Like,
you're absolutely right.
Because it's a perverted form of authenticity. I
just don't think that's smart.
Canceled. But here's the thing, like, think about it this way. If we understand, like, the abusers I've understood, how fucking smart they are and very calculated they are about abuse.
Calculated.
Now imagine the calculations that one does if they're bold enough to own their disorder, because they can actually, by owning it, without having to love bomb, they can literally coerce people to fall in love with them and worship them for the very fact that they are owning their shit.
Right. It's like they don't have to expend as much energy at all to make that work.
Here's the thing. Like, I always say, I would tell my inmates, I embrace my crazy. I know I'm crazy. I embrace my crazy. They're doing that. I'm embracing my NPD, people. I know I'm NPD. I'm embracing it. So whatever I say or do is me, is who I am.
I agree with you both. And I don't want to give them that much credit for being that smart. I just don't.
But I totally get that.
Maybe
That is the most freeing thing for an NPD is I get to blaze out and blare out my NPD.
Oh, real. And like, I can just be so like, I can actually just be like, here's how I'm abusing you. Here's what I do. And people will actually praise me for it. It's like,
I think sociopaths are that smart. I don't think narcissists are that.
Yes.
I don't know.
They are.
I don't know. I mean, I know some fucking narcissists who are that fucking smart. Like,
I think I know some sociopaths that are that fucking smart. I don't know about fucking narcissists.
but like, okay, but like, if we understand, like, listen, everyone is evolving. This is a fun conversation. Everyone is evolving. And so if a person has enough, I don't want to use the word awareness, but if they have enough ability to look around what's going on with them and they see, well, the whole world right now, what are they talking about? Authenticity. That is what's making the world go round. Now, if they understand that, then they're like, if I tell everyone that I'm a narcissist, then I will actually get credit for it, which is why I think that right now, when I see what the kind of hate Jody is getting on her social media from people who are putting, I have ASPD, I have BPD, and I have NPD, and I have my cat, and I have bipolar, and I have this. It's because they actually may or may not be diagnosed with those things, but they're seeing this trend of people who have come out initially saying that they have it. And so their only way of actually getting attention is to say that they have it. So now we're seeing this big clusterfuck of people who have it or may not have it, and they're trying to say that they have it. But I find it more fascinating with the people that say they have all the things than someone that just comes out and says, I have NPD.
Perfect example of somebody who said their diagnosis was a sociopath. And I did a video saying that's not a diagnosis. That's not in the DSM. It's not an ICD-9. It's not a diagnosis. It's probably ASPD. And you have no idea how many people have yelled at me that this person can self-identify as anything they want. Hey, motherfucker, a diagnosis is not self-identifying. Okay, two separate things. He can identify as a fucking aloe vera plant. I don't care. I don't care. Just use the correct diagnosis. So and then they're saying that they're trying to reclaim the stigma from sociopathy.
My God.
Why?
Ted Bundy.
But literally, that's the thing. Like, are we reclaiming the stereotypes surrounding serial killers and
Exactly.
rapists?
And then they said the excuse was this creator used the word sociopath because that's what people know and that's what's going to get them views. And it's like,
that's true.
Fuck. It is true. That is what's going to get them views. Exactly.
That's true.
Yep. And it's like, I don't care that they use the word sociopath. It's just, I'm saying it's not a diagnosis. That's it.
So in case y'all didn't know, clinicians are real big on the fucking language that you choose because that is what we need to have.
But I think that's what that's what they're hoping for. Listen, the mass majority is uneducated, and the mass majority has no fucking clue that sociopathy is not a diagnosis. They have no fucking clue. So the only people that they're going to block on social media are psychologists and therapists. And listen, it's easier to block y'all than it is to block the mass population. So they can fool everyone and shut you the hell out. No problem.
I saw, who was it? Why are you mad? It's like, it's not that I'm mad. It's that I am a licensed clinical psychologist. It is my ethical obligation to point out mis and disinformation in the mental health field. This is misinformation or disinformation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just like, why am I calling out self-aware narcissists? I don't care if they come on and say they are narcissists. What I care about is the self-aware title. And all I am saying is viewer, follower, beware that all self-aware narcissist means is someone who fucking knows what they're doing. That is it. That is all. If you choose to follow them, great. But don't follow them thinking that they're your fucking savior. That is all I am saying. I am all for destigmatizing mental illness when it's mental illness. You know, and no, I am not for glamorizing and taking back fucking NPD. There is no glamorizing NPD. And again, I'm going to stress this. You guys are going to, I'm kicking a dead horse. But if you've ever been in a narcissistic or a toxic relationship, it is not, oh, I'm so sorry, you poor misunderstood piece of fucking shit. Hate me? I don't care. I have been through it. I've worked with them. I have been in a 10-year fucking relationship with them. I have had them as my bosses and I have had them as colleagues. You can not convince me to like them, to care about them, to believe that they are poor, misunderstood. How can you be self-aware and be misunderstood? You're not, if you're self-aware, you should be explaining yourself pretty fucking good, pretty fucking well. Sorry, my grammar was poor right there.
Yeah.
But I, well, and that's the thing is like, everyone wants to defend the narcissist. Why? Like, so what you're saying, let's just put it in the perception of like a child. Okay. So if I'm dealing with my daughter who's 8 years old and the only human being she considers and like thinks of is herself. And she goes and plays with a group of kids. And she is not sharing, she's not being kind, she's bullying everyone, she's picking on everyone, she's calling everyone names, she is like treating them poorly, like
a dick.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're literally enabling, defending, justifying, and protecting someone who only cares about them fucking selves. That's it.
And normalizing the behavior. You're normalizing the behavior too.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is very frightening.
Yeah.
Normalizing fucking abuse. And the assholes who all tell me NPDs aren't all abusive. It's in the goddamn DSM. Look under diagnostic features. Anybody who flies into a rage because they don't get what they want. Anybody who demeans, devalues, and gaslights. And then I've had people say, well, okay, well, yeah, but that's like mentally. That's fucking abuse. Yes, I am extremely passionate about this because I can't stand people preying on vulnerable, especially victims of abuse.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like they hijacked the movement from the actual survivors of abuse.
100%.
These self-aware narcissists hijacked that movement and said, oh, we'll come in like we can help them.
We'll come in like fucking victims. We'll come like feel sorry for me because I don't have empathy. I'm the victim. Fuck you. No, you're not.
Right.
I'm very passionate about it as well.
We're all very passionate about this topic.
You are not like it. Listen, I do have sympathy for the fact that a person with diagnosed NPD does not know what it actually has never experienced love.
Right.
However, here's the thing. What I call love and what they call love are two very different things.
Because they don't know what
they've never experienced it. They don't know what it is. And I hate to be such an asshole about saying this, but listen, I'm raw as fuck. I remember my dad saying to me when I was little, you can't miss something you didn't know you were missing.
Yep.
And so when Heather says they've hijacked this, I got to tell you, it kind of infuriates me. It like makes my blood boil, because that's exactly what's happening. Is it's like, oh, I've got to get in on this. That's what they've done to us the entire time. Like, we're not allowed to have anything.
Right.
We're not allowed to talk about our abuse, because now you're the abuser. I'm not allowed to talk about my feelings because my feelings don't fucking matter to you. Only your feelings matter to you. The way that I see the situation doesn't fucking matter, because the only thing that matters is how you see the situation. And now you're the only fucking victim in this, because you don't know what love and empathy is. And because I feel love and empathy, now I'm the fucking abuser, because now I can see from your perspective and mine. And we get punished for it. And it's infuriating.
It is.
I had to say
left
it.
my ex. When I left my ex, I remember telling my friend, I was like crushed, devastated. How did this happen? How did I let this happen? But I remember thinking, and this, I tell people now, you know, that I'm out of it and stuff. It's my like, not my life's goal, but it's like I have spent the last 4 years trying to help others to get out and to see what also it took me going to therapy and stuff. But I said, you know, he's not suffering. I am. And my friend said, no, think about this. And this has stuck with me. And I'm like, how did I didn't know this because I was in it. Now I tell other people this, but she said, he's the one suffering. Can you imagine? You can hurt. He can't. And the reason he can't hurt is because he can't feel love. So if you can't feel love, you can't feel loss. It's not the same. It's the same, you know, it's two sides of the same coin. So because you can feel, that means you have feelings. You can experience joy and happiness and sadness. He can't. He's just existing. And that kind of like, shit, I say this to people all the time. It didn't sink into me until she said it, but it is true. It's like, they're miserable. I say this all the time. They are so self-loathing. And I did tell my ex, I said, you know what? I am happy and I will be happy, but you will always be you, miserable, self-loathing, and searching for something that you will never, ever find. And to me, that is so pathetically sad. So when I think about all the fucking shit and just thinking about it, I'm starting to well up. But when I think about all the shit that my ex put me through, questioning my own fucking abilities and reality, I think, but you know what? I am here. I am here on this podcast with the two of you, living my life, thriving in my narc-free life, and he is still repeating the same patterns over and over and over. And if you look at any narcissist, self-aware or not, or victim, claiming to be a victim who's actually a fucking narcissist, look back at their life pattern, and it is the same pattern over and over and over again. Different people, maybe a slightly different twist in a situation, but it's the same fucking pattern.
Question. Can you really, well, let me start with this. There is a vast difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is just knowing something, and wisdom is being able to utilize the knowing and transform it into doing. Isn't that what awareness is anyways? Is being aware of something to the point where you can change it. So by proxy, in order to say that you are aware, you would have to also maintain the ability to change it. So if a narcissist has a knowing that they have NPD, they could not therefore say that they are aware of their NPD unless they had the ability to change the pattern.
Right. That is when they say aware, that is all they are saying, is that they know they have this diagnosis. And the
Mhm.
deeper levels of wisdom and changing and introspection and knowing things and internalization of what that means, that they are not capable of.
Right.
So
Gaining insight is extremely important for change. However, having that insight and doing jack shit with it means nothing. Once you gain insight, you use that insight to then change or modify or adjust or do something.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
have all the fucking insight in the world. Unless
why
you-
would people with NPD change when what they are doing is working for them?
Right.
Because it beyond having the awareness that this is what you have, you also have to fucking have the awareness that it's a fucking problem. And when it's not a problem to you, because it's not for people with NPD, it's not something that they're going to engage in any change process with. You have to say, I acknowledge I have X, and then go beyond that and say, and it is a problem that I need to fix. And they're not, why would they consider it a problem when it works for them all the fucking time? It works for them on social media right now. It works for them everywhere they go. They can find a target that will buy into their bullshit. Why change it?
They make CEO, they make president, they make higher because they don't mind stepping on anybody and everybody to get to where they want to be. So they can progress in life in that sense. As far as interpersonally, hell no. But professionally, yeah, because they don't fucking give a shit what they do to get there. Yes, Ashley, you have something.
So I just
Tell you
looked
that.
up the definition of self-aware. What does it mean to be self-aware? And it says self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do or don't align with your internal standards.
They can't be because they have no internal fucking standards.
They have no
Whether-
internal sense of anything. And they also don't have that standard for anybody else because they have no empathy. So
No,
why
and-
change?
And the other definition is having conscious knowledge of one's own character
That's what I
and
said.
feelings, right? And so
That's
the
the only part
entire,
that they know is they know their character. They
Yes.
know they're a piece of fucking shit.
absolutely have that
I mean,
awareness.
do they really have that awareness? That they're a
Yes,
piece of
they
shit? Do they
that's
really?
that's like the meta awareness where they get the feedback from others. They
But
are aware that
it's
others perceive them as
fair,
pieces
But
of
that's
shit.
not
They're aware.
self-aware though. That's like you
That's-
said, pseudo awareness is like,
Yeah.
everyone says I'm a piece of shit, but I don't think I am.
And
Right.
there was a study done, and I can't find the fucking study. I keep looking it up. My friend sent it to me. I cannot find it. For some reason, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't need this anymore. And then you delete it and can never find it because I don't know the keywords and stuff. So I keep looking. That said, there was a study done with narcissists, diagnosed NPD, that if they were allowed ability to change, like there was a pill or a whatever, would they? And the statistically significant said absolutely not.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
They are self-loathing, but this is what works for them. This is what helps them. This is
But-
how they live.
Well, let's like think about it. Think about it though. How many times have we experienced empathy on such extreme levels that we think to ourselves, I wish I didn't have all of this compassion. I wish it didn't hurt this much. I wish I didn't look at someone sitting on the side of a street in raggedy clothes and just start crying because I'm literally thinking about what are they thinking right now? What are they experiencing? What's it like to be homeless? Like when we hear stories on the news about women in in Iran dying, or like pedophiles and children like being taken, and we just weeping and weeping and weeping. I would assume that they are thankful to a degree that shit doesn't bother me. I feel sorry.
Fuck yeah.
Well,
I feel
Absolutely.
sorry for him, but that's a fucking curse. Y'all are cursed
Yep.
to
It's
feel
how
the
they see it.
emotions of the world. You feel everyone's feelings, and that's what slows you down. That's what
Yep.
fucks you up. That's why you're a failure. That's why you're getting nowhere in life, is because
Well, the
y'all
big
are all
word-
up in your feelings.
Yep.
Ashley, the big word is you're weak.
Yes.
They believe that people with empathy are weak. If you show, like my ex used to say to me all the time, oh my God, my ex just cried and I can't handle it. I can't. So I don't like crying. It makes me uncomfortable. It's like,
This
okay.
is also one of their biggest downfalls, is because they view people who are human, because having empathy is a human quality, and it makes us capable of being in the world and having meaning and purpose in life. Okay. So they view that as a weakness, because they see that their ability to get ahead by manipulating people is better. And it has worked for like world leaders and things. It's that kind of mentality has really worked, and it's also been valued in societies too, to be that kind of ruthless kind of leader type, right? Like it's been really valued. But where they fuck up is when they see us as weak, because what we're capable of, because we have all that humanity and that ability to empathize with others, what we're capable of is actually morphing into something that we can actually change, right? Like we can actually do things without hurting other fucking people and still make it fucking work. Like we can actually become world leaders now with empathy. We can become CEOs, lawyers, presidents, whatever the fuck we want now, and have fucking empathy. So they don't understand that it's not exactly the weakness that they believe it is, because we have the ability to change and morph into things that are working for the greater good. And they're very tunnel visioned in a sense that eventually doesn't work very well for them. And they're still fucking miserable in the end anyway.
Well, and I think we're stepping into an age where the narcissist, to a degree, is no longer no longer necessary in certain aspects of life. And I think that that's why we're seeing so much talk and so much exposure of these narcissists, especially in the public eye, being taken down. Because where one narcissist could accomplish so much, now with the integration of, all of the women's rights movements, all of these protests, all of we're being heart driven, that to a degree where it's like snuffing the narcissist out and saying, we've had enough of this shit. Like we can still move mountains. We can still, like Heather said, we can still lead countries from the heart and still do what we have to do and do what's necessary. But there are other means that we can take. There are other solutions that we can utilize in order to get the job done that will actually minimize emotional, physical damage and catastrophe and collateral damage for that matter, because there's a smarter way to do this. And the narcissistic way is very Neanderthal, in my opinion. It's very animalistic
and impulsive.
I have to say, because you said this, and I know this sounds very sexist, and people are going to hate us after this, whatever. The ones, I don't care. But narcissism, NPD, is more prevalent in men than women.
Yeah.
It's not mind-blowing.
Right.
It's makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, it has worked historically to be that way for men.
And again, this is where social media has been amazing for them, because if I'm getting called out now in other avenues, where can I make myself present? No.
Yep.
And that's social media.
Yep.
So this is where it's like, again, I have the potential for 7 million people watching me at any one time. And then those that are wolves in sheep in sheep's clothing.
Yay, wine. Yeah. Here we go.
I was gonna say, how much have I drank of this so far? A wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna divert for just a second. And if you've ever seen me live on TikTok, I am very tangential.
She's
I
gonna
always
go,
get to
guys. There she goes. It's going
I
that
get
way.
to my point, but you gotta pay attention. It is a therapeutic technique. Are you paying attention? Because I've just
Sit
gone-
on the train. Sit on it.
Anyway.
She'll take you.
fuck, I almost lost my train of thought.
There I go
The train.
derailing the train. And
Okay, talk amongst yourselves because I need to figure out where I was.
I'll circle back to what Ashley was saying. The bottom line of the empathy weakness conversation is that like here in front of you, or what you're listening to, are three women with an incredible amount of empathy, but also an incredible amount of strength from that empathy. And we have managed to create a lot of change in the world and a lot of change in ourselves and change in healthy, productive things that have happened as a result of our ability to have fucking empathy. Because
Amen.
especially as clinicians, if we didn't have empathy for the people that we are serving, they would not be able to institute the change that they have fucking made. So empathy is not a fucking weakness. And narcissists are really, 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 really faulty in that thinking and delusional to have that belief. Even when we're like, damn, I wish I didn't have this much empathy, it hurts. It is, in the end, our fucking power. And it has taken down people with NPD and sociopaths and fucking predators. So for anyone who's like, damn, I wish I didn't have all my empathy either, that empathy is your strength. Don't let them fucking fool you with that delusion.
Because
That's
they
all.
can't handle that empathy. They literally couldn't. It would break them.
Yeah.
And that
Talk
was
about
the weird-
weakness.
I have to say my thought or I'm gonna lose it again. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Say it,
Sorry.
say it.
I just
Okay. My thing is, if we or I devolve through the podcast, we have already explained that this is why complain when you can whine, and we are attempting while drinking wine. So that is my excuse. That is what I'm sticking to. If I stumble, fumble, whatever, it's the fucking wine's fault.
No
Not mine.
self-accountability.
Not mine. I don't care if I drank a lot or not. I am blaming the wine. But Ashley, you make a really good point. You make a really good point. And that's the thing, is that is where they, again, they have these fatal flaws. And when you can find them, you don't have to do anything. The fact of the matter is, if you can go to therapy, please go to therapy. If you've been in a toxic or NPD and or NPD relationship, go to therapy. When you go to therapy, when you get to the point where you are now thriving without them, you can do so much. They cannot bring you down. They can trigger you. It is okay to have moments. If you hear from them, which you will, if you hear from them or see something or whatever, it is okay to be in that moment and get triggered and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, resilience is a fucking gift. And when you can be resilient and you can rise up in spite of and despite the fucking narcissistic abuse with therapy, then you will overcome and succeed and rise up. And the three of us are fucking proof of that. And when a narcissist tries to bring you down, and I say this all the time, smear campaigns can only go so far. When they try to bring you down, but you have fucking integrity and empathy and compassion, and most of all, truth behind what you do, you will fucking rise and prevail over and above what a motherfucking narcissist can do to you.
Amen.
amen.
I'll drink to that.
And that's it. Are we out of time? Are we out of time right now? I haven't fucking paying attention to the time, but we should probably do that.
I don't fucking pay attention
Are
time.
we out of fucking time now?
What we can, we have a little bit longer. It all depends. We're about close to the end, but we can wrap it up on that.
I think that was
If we get on another tangent, we're not going to stop.
Yeah, I think that was
Golly.
a super powerful way to end the conversation about self-aware narcissists. I think that we could talk about this shit for decades, to be honest with you. I love the fact that when you address that your empathy is your strength and you address that, you know, it is the thing. In the end, it is the thing that they're lacking.
Yeah.
And the thing that separates our ability to rise above.
Yep.
God, it's fucking beautiful.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
That's
love
exactly
I
it.
love using the thing that they use to weaponize and break us down. I love that in the end, it is the thing that we utilize in order to not only rise above, but take them down.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
fucking amazing.
I do want to say to anybody that is listening to please like, subscribe, all that stuff. But if you guys have any questions you want to ask us, put it in the comments. If you have any suggestions for podcasts, put it in the comments. You can also email us at, sorry, this is the wine thing. WC
W.
W.
Why?
Someone else take it over.
WCW
God damn it.
W1@gmail.com.
Say that again because I was laughing.
WCWYCW1 at gmail.com.
WCWYCW1. WCWYCW1
At
at Gmail.
gmail.com.
Any questions, any comments, any suggestions?
Also, let's start. We're going to be introducing Dirty Little Secrets. So if you want to write into us at our email and tell us your dirty little secret, we will conceal identity. But if you have an amazing story to tell us that you'd like us to share for you, email us. We'd love to share it with the world.
With Dirty Little Secrets, we're talking about, like, for example, I have a secret that with my narcissistic relationship that I swore I was going to take to the grave.
I'm not taking it nowhere.
Uh-huh.
I'm not taking it nowhere except the podcast.
No, I accidentally shared it and I was like, okay, well, now that I shared it, I'm saying it on the podcast during that episode for sure. So any dirty little secrets that you have from your relationship that you want to spill the beans, but you don't necessarily want to be, we can say your name or not, you let us know, and that is fine. That's going to be a real fun episode. We're also going to have episodes on fucking coaches, sorry. Life coaches, and the ones that post things like 12 signs that you're sleeping with a narcissist. Seriously, shut the fuck up. Those are going to be fun. We are no rules, no holds barred. So it is what it is. On that note, thank you guys so much for listening. Cheers.
Cheers. Love you guys.
Love you.